I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we are recording this podcast, the Bidjigal and Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay respects to elders past and present and extend our respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from all nations of this land. Welcome to the Pick Me Up podcast, James.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
I've actually been good.
Good.
I feel like this year has been really good to me.
Yeah.
Compared to last, but we're moving onwards and upwards.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today. Can you, for those who don't know what you've been up to in the last, I don't know, let's say year or so, give us an update?
Yeah, of course. So, primarily producing a bunch of EPs and singles for different artists. I just had an album that I recorded for an artist called the Tierney Bros, who are two brothers from Human Nature, came out. We had some ARIA chart success, which was a bit of fun. And then really just focusing on a lot of different pop acts between here and New Zealand and just writing things that I really enjoy and trying to build out a bunch of artist tools to help people just on the side, I guess.
Yeah. New Zealand. That's cool.
New Zealand's fun.
Yeah.
They got
I
a cool
forget
sound.
that it's so close.
Yeah.
Which sounds ridiculous.
I feel in a funny way, like I work with more Kiwis than Australians at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But they're what I find, everyone's going to hate this, but I find that Kiwis are like, you know how Australia is far away from everything?
Yeah.
New Zealand's like just that extra bit further away. And they have this really global focus, but they still are just super friendly like Australians. So it's just great. They're always the best people to work with. Like,
that's awesome.
They have cool ideas, yeah.
Are you going there to work or are you doing online stuff?
A few of them have come here.
Sweet.
And then a lot of mainly online stuff. Like I like to meet people first and then work with them online.
Yeah.
Because it's just fun to catch a vibe, you know.
I was going to say getting the vibe in real life is probably easier, right?
Absolutely. Like you're just
online.
Creatively vibing and
yeah, that's awesome.
You got to catch the vibes.
Tell us about the Tierney Brothers project.
Yeah, it was fun. Wow, how did that come about? 2022. Yeah, 2022. The guys popped in we were just cutting vocals on a song actually. And I just said to them, I was like, hey, this is really cool what you're doing. I have a bunch of songs here that I've actually written and we cut one of them, which we didn't end up using, but it was kind of like, I guess, the catalyst for the sound of the record that came out. A lot of the elements of that we implemented through a bunch of other songs. And we wrote I think probably close to 20 songs over the course of a year. And it was just a lot of fun. Like a lot of, to be honest, a lot of 5 a.m. starts because they were in Vegas. So we were working a lot of remote, like doing a lot of remote sessions. And then I flew over there and we did a whole, I think it was like 10 days in Vegas of tracking. And it was crazy. Like, I just remember doing the crazy thing of like, okay, I got to leave here on a Tuesday and I land there on a Tuesday and then I have to be in the studio the next day. And I was like, how do I just not get jet lagged?
Jet lag.
I did the dumbest thing too.
Oh, no.
I was like, I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and then start my day at 2 a.m., which is like 8 a.m. their time.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was like 8 or 9 a.m. I was like, cool. So I'm kind of already there. Oh boy.
The pre-planning.
So I did my
wrong.
exercise, had my breakfast at like 3 a.m., stayed awake, got on my flight at like 7, did not sleep a wink the whole time.
No.
So I get to LA and I had like a 4-hour layover and I'm sitting in this airport like, oh. And there's this big thing, like if you've ever flown from Los Angeles to Vegas, all of the airlines are like, and we provided this service and it's a 36-minute flight. That's a very specific number. Like it's 36 minutes and they're kind of bragging about it.
That's hilarious.
All right. If you've ever had a nap before when you've been exhausted, you know it needs to be longer than 36 minutes.
Oh, no.
So I was asleep, I think before we even took off.
Yeah.
And I woke up coming into Vegas. I had like one eye hanging out of my head. I go, oh. And then I honestly was a bit of a daze getting there. I found a picture from the hotel pool and it's like, it looks fake, honestly, but there's this deli sandwich in my lap, and I'm
Heck
just like
yes.
half awake going, but it was great.
That's
like,
so good. I've never been to
Yeah.
Vegas. I've been to LA, but no, I haven't done the 36-minute flight.
I mean, it's really the talking point of Vegas is the 36-minute flight.
That's so funny.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, I was pretty much there. I mean, the guys have families, so like we just hung out in the day, recorded everything we needed to record, and then I just chilled at night.
I was going to say, were you back-to-back recording, like much free time?
Pretty much every day. We had I had the Sunday off.
Nice.
We did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Had the Sunday as a rest day, then did it Monday, and I think I flew out on the Tuesday from memory, like something like that.
Yep.
Works out to be 10 days by the time you get back to Australia because you land on like a Thursday.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did I do? I think oh my God. I was like, it's the Saturday night, and I was there by myself, so I was like, okay, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I jumped on one of those open air buses.
Oh
I
my
booked
gosh.
it super last minute.
That's so fun.
Yeah. And went down to Old Vegas and just went for a little walk around. They take you on like a little tour. Had this gin and tonic, and
Yum.
like, I don't really drink, but I was like, okay, I'll have a gin and tonic. This thing was free poured. So I
was going to
just-
say, that would have knocked your socks off. Is that even a saying? I sound like an old lady.
Definitely. And got back to the casino. I was like, I'm in Vegas and I haven't even been to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I texted my girlfriend. I was like, hey, I'm just going to go play some roulette. Like, I just got I think I got like 20.
Amazing.
No, I got $100 US. And I was like, I'm just going to play roulette. Why not?
Yeah.
Get down to the last, I think like $20 that I had. I'd gone through this whole thing. This guy rocks up to the table. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, all right, guys, this is my last one. He's like, put it all on 00. And I was, oh, are you kidding? And then this other guy next to me goes, oh, why don't you put it on 0 and 00? You know, then you can halve your chances. I'm new to this. I don't do this stuff. I was just like, all right, when in Vegas, I got to do this,
Trust the
right?
people.
Yeah, right? All right, I kid you not. $20 between 0 and 00. And they spin. It landed on 00.
Get out.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, you're kidding. It would have been like, I think would have been like $700 or something.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Heck yeah.
Anyway, so I gave them some chips to keep playing, and I went and bought us some matching shoes the next day on my day off on the Sunday.
yes.
So it was a bit of fun.
That's so good.
Yeah, Vegas was fun. Coming back and then obviously finishing the project here again was cool. We had a couple days because obviously like they're touring with Human Nature, so there are a few days where they're able to pop into the studio, especially in the last few months of finishing it, which was really helpful because it's good to be in the room. But the project was really fun, and it's out and you can hear it.
Heck yeah. Where do we hear it? On all
Spotify,
on all
Apple
the things?
Music.
Yeah.
You
on
can
all
find
of
it
the
on
things.
DSPs everywhere. Actually, you can buy it. They have a CD you can buy.
Incredible. CDs are coming back, hey?
Yeah.
Vinyls, they're back.
I know.
Which is cool.
Vinyls would be cool.
Yeah.
I had a song on a vinyl once, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't think we printed vinyls for this, but it was definitely a CD.
It would be, I mean, James and I were having a chat before this just about like the finance of the industry, but like who has the money to be able to print all that kind of stuff? Is that like...
Yeah. I think we talked about it and it was looking like, I mean, please don't quote me on this, but like it was like $5,000 to get the press made because you have to make a platinum disc to print them. And it worked out to be something like $70 you'd have to sell a vinyl for. And as much as it's like, oh, cool, you know, would love to sell vinyl, you're kind of running at a loss because no one's really, who's paying $70 for a vinyl? Unless it's the Jonas Brothers or something.
And you're in LA.
Yeah, right? And Shawn Mendes, yeah. Oh, LA. Yeah,
cool. Just a quick question about like when you're in the studio and stuff, what is your process? Like how do you approach a session?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think, and this is always something I've wanted to do, but the first kind of like 30 minutes when someone walks into the room, there's so many gold nuggets of conversation there.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it's just like everyone comes in, we chill, catch up here, you know, a lot like we did today. We talked about what's been going on, what have you been up to. And then just really seeing, like, I come in, it depends on the person, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have this funny thing I do where I'm like, so what's the tea? And I just come in like out of the blue and just go, okay, now we're getting into it.
Yeah, we're getting into the deep and meaningfuls right up.
We're all chill. What's the tea? And then, whoa, this. I'm like, okay. And then
Good.
everyone's like, okay, we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the best songs come from things we don't really want to talk about because we just want to write a song about it and no one asks us.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that's kind of the approach. And you need to obviously read the vibe of the session. Like a lot of, I guess, ballads and more acoustic vibe artists are going to have more of a deeper emotional thing. But a lot of the pop stuff, like the fun pop stuff, it's a little less deep sometimes, I find. I mean, and that's definitely generalizing. Yeah. But I just kind of write and produce everything at the same time, and we just get this really synergetic sound at the end of it because we work on everything together in the room. Like within usually 5-6 hours, we have something that pretty much sounds done. You could probably put it out.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun. Like we work pretty quick because, I mean, have you seen that quote? It's like an idea is 15 minutes.
Yes.
You heard that?
Yes.
Yeah. So my theory is like the longer we spend on this, the further away from the original idea we're going to get. So we need to get it done quick.
Yeah.
And like I'm totally got a bit of ADHD. So like it's just like bang, bang, bang.
I think that's good quality in that.
What's lunch? Who needs to stop? We're just going to keep going.
Let's go.
You know? No bathroom breaks. The door's locked. We're never done.
We're never leaving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's just like for me, keeping the flow of the energy of the session moving.
Yeah.
And you can pick your people. Like some people are great to just work on with you and the artist.
Yep.
But other people, it's more fun if there's another person in the room because they just bring a certain type of energy or like a certain part of that person out that you wouldn't normally see with someone else.
Yep.
And it comes back to a quote. Who said this? Was it? Sorry. We're going to go quoted by Anon. But it's like, you know, when you lose someone in life, you don't just lose that person. You lose the parts of everyone else you know that they bring out. You know, like there's one side of you that your best friend only brings out and no one else in the world. Or like your mum brings out or your parents. Yeah. Like that is a really important thing with working and collaborating with different people is that when you're with different people, you bring out different parts of each other. So that's what really curating a vibe for a session is and how we get the best results.
I've actually never really thought about that.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, human dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Such a big like concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
But like I'm all for this. Is like how do we get the coolest songs and something different?
Yeah.
You know? And that's why I think as a producer, the songwriter is super important. And it might not necessarily be like, how do we get the best song? Oh, we need this best songwriter. They've had all these hits. That's actually really, in my opinion, the least important part. Like it's a part, you know, it's like, obviously this person's great. It's more so, what does this person bring out of everyone when they're here? They might not even write anything, but they set a vibe. And I think like, you know, especially when you start out as a songwriter, you get caught up on splits and things like that. But if you realize this, then you go, oh, that person actually contributed way more, even if they didn't write a single line to this session and the vibe that we got and what we ended up with, then I really want to acknowledge. But it's like, hey, these are the value of having people who collaborate with you all the time.
Yeah. Making that room safe too and like just everyone working and connecting together.
Yeah.
Did you start out songwriting or producing?
Yeah.
Or did it naturally come hand in hand?
This is really interesting, actually. I feel like, look, okay, I started playing guitar when I was about 16.
Yeah.
And it was kind of this thing which was not cool to do at school. I played like Guns N' Roses. Like I wasn't playing like Ocean by John Butler. And everyone's like, oh, you play Ocean by John Butler. Like I was totally the guy who was just like, I don't want to speak to everyone. Literally. I don't want to speak to anyone at lunch today. I'm going to go down to the music room and just play guitar. Yeah. But I also was not like, I wasn't like really that super quiet person. I was a bit mouthy. So I just did what I wanted. And I thought I was so cool. I wanted to be Slash from Guns N' Roses. So
incredible.
Bad. Like if I have to meet one person in my life, it's that guy.
It's that
guy. And I hope he's cool.
Yeah.
I hope he's cool. Like, you know, I don't want to meet my idol and just get crushed.
I know.
But I started playing guitar, and when I left school, I really wanted to play guitar. And my parents were very much like, you can't really make money playing guitar. Like, what are you going to do?
Can relate.
And so side quest, I studied mechanical engineering.
Wow.
Worst decision of my life.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it took so much out of me. But in that time, I started producing music because I wanted to be like Skrillex. I thought it was just really interesting.
Heck yes.
Those sounds are so cool.
Yes.
I'm still just fascinated by it. Like Skrillex put out a new album maybe 6-7 weeks ago.
Right.
And
Gosh, I haven't listened to Skrillex in ages.
Right. But like
I should.
You listen to it and you're like, damn, in terms of production, this is crazy. Like it's just skills nuts.
Yeah.
And composition wise, I know it sounds a bit like noise, but if you really, really do listen to it, there are some amazing compositional
Elements
things happening in there that you can apply to anything.
Yeah, wow.
That's why like I pull a lot of stuff from electronic music because I love that.
Yeah.
But I started producing and DJing and I was making Jersey Club, if you know what that is.
I don't actually.
So it's like kind of like Pink Pantheress is kind of pulling elements from that.
Okay.
It's kind of like chopped up old school vinyl beats with chopped up vocals and things like that.
Yep.
And it's transitioned a little bit into pop, but I don't think it's really landed that well. But it started out in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I was just making, I guess really it was a whitewashed version of Jersey Club. But I started collaborating with a lot of producers over SoundCloud in New Jersey and New York and Baltimore. And it was like this really cool culture of it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the first time I went to LA and met one of my best friends who lives there in 2016. I was DJing and whatever. And then I came back and I just remember getting on this flight and I'm going, what am I doing? Like I'm struggling through this engineering degree. Like, I would spend every night at home producing music on my laptop and just like obsessed.
Yeah.
I was just obsessed. I was like, how do I make this so good? Like I've got to learn how to mix and all this stuff. And I came back and I actually genuinely lied to my parents for a whole semester that I was going to uni. Because I just couldn't face the fact that I was going to have to tell them I wasn't doing mechanical engineering. I was going to be a music producer. And I had you look back, I was 21 and you go, I wasn't really in a confident space where I could just look at my mum and dad and go, hey, I'm going to be a music producer. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go and study a music degree and be a music teacher. Which I absolutely never wanted to do, but I had to have something, and
totally.
Your parents aren't going to get it. And they just want you to be safe and have security and whatever. But like, I'm an all or nothing person. I'm never just going to be like, I just want to be safe. I'm just like, nah, I just want so much out of life.
Yeah.
So I went and I studied for a bit and I think like, it depends on the type of person you'd be. Would I recommend going and studying music? Probably not. I mean, I had a lot of musical theory knowledge because I've been playing guitar for so long.
Yeah.
And I was super nerdy already.
Yeah.
And I had done a lot of production stuff already. But it bought me 2 years, I think it was, to just go, how do I actually turn this into something that I can live off?
Yeah.
Which is a weird concept. I remember coming out of uni and I had...
Where did you study?
At AIM.
Same.
You went to AIM too?
I went to AIM.
When were you at AIM?
And I did the composition and production course.
Me too.
That's so wild.
Okay. When was this?
I was there 2011, 2012.
Okay. So this was like 2017 to 2019. So it bought me like 2 years to just go, what do I want to do? Like how can I do this? Like I already had the grind set in place. I was already burning through hours every night, having no sleep, doing the networking thing, all of that.
Yeah.
And this was back in the days when like probably the heyday of Unearthed. And this A&R reached out to me. I kind of got bored of making EDM.
Yep.
And I wanted to write songs.
Yep.
And I wouldn't class myself as a vocalist, but I sing to write songs.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'd written some songs and I could obviously produce it, so it was quite easy. And they're kind of fun. I was like, these are kind of interesting. But I popped one up on Unearthed and an A&R reached out to me. And everyone's probably listening to this going, oh, yeah, here we go. But it was fantastic. And he kind of didn't realize I'd produced my own songs. And we caught up and he's like, oh my God, you produced this? And I said, yeah. And instantly just started putting me in sessions with other artists. And it was like one of those kind of weird moments where you're like, hang on a second.
What's happening here?
What's this? Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
And then you start to realize, oh, I love writing songs with people and understanding the concept of writing songs. And like, then I was opening up a whole new realm of music production to me. It's like, rather than producing to make a beat, we're writing a song and we're producing the song. And that's kind of where that concept that I have is like, we're producing a song, not songwriting and production comes from.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get lost in the beats, which is fun for a producer. But, it's not about that all the time. Yeah, and then really it kind of just took off from there. We had 2020. I had finished my course and I was just literally writing with everyone. And then 2021, I moved up to Sydney because I was living down in Bowral with my parents. I know it was a late.
That's where my parents live.
Your parents live in Bowral?
Yeah, my parents
You're
live
kidding
in Bowral.
me. Did you grow up down there?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a fun place.
Yeah, they've been there for, 8 or 9 years now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Small
That's
world.
fun. That's a great place.
We're figuring out some really great facts here.
I know.
Aim, barrel.
Right? Yeah.
That was during COVID. You went back down there. Was that COVID?
No, I was living down there.
You were living
So
down
I
there
always
in
lived
COVID.
down there. So I was driving back and forward to Sydney all the time. And the move happened. So like I was going to move 2020, but COVID happened. So I was like, well, this is kind of a waste of time because I can like get out of the house down here. It's kind of a rural escape.
Literally.
And I had an artist that was living in Newcastle
Okay.
for 2020 and we did a bunch of development and he's living in LA now actually. We did a bunch of work. He would drive around Sydney basically to get to Bowral because you could avoid it,
amazing.
right? It was
Yeah.
a rural area. It's like there was Sydney and then rural area.
Yeah.
So we would work on some stuff together.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. And that was really fun because it was like a really great incubator to just work on stuff, explore new ideas. And then I went, I like developing artists. This is fun. I like finding new sounds for people.
Fun.
That was something I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like this is a really cool element that I like. And I like working on bigger projects rather than just singles.
Yeah.
So 2021 hits. I was like, okay, cool. COVID's done. Let's move to Sydney.
Yes.
Right. So this is like January. Moved up here, got a studio. I think like that year I ran through 175 songs.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. And some of it wasn't a different artist every day.
Yeah.
But it was a lot. There were like
That's so
probably
many.
close to 120 different artists. And I just went speed dating on the artist
How good, though.
thing. It was cool.
It's kind of like what you got to do. Get yourself out there, right?
Yeah. And you find the people you like to work with.
Yeah.
You also, it's a process of elimination.
Yeah.
That was so diplomatic, was it?
That was so
Yeah,
diplomatic.
there's a process of elimination and you start to find, I think from that was, on a side note, was really interesting because I started to find my own sound as a producer.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a lot of something that's not really talked about, but everyone has a niche. Like an artist has an artist sound and whatever. But when you start to work with different artists, you start finding the similar choices you make between different artists, even when you're getting a different result. You go, oh, that's the me in this, you know? Mm-hmm. And obviously we went down into lockdown. And I guess that's kind of how we got here. It was, long story short.
So good.
It was so short.
It's a great story, though. What a journey.
I know. I think back and I go, wow, I've just like the amount of hours in there.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me that that's what I was going to be doing
What it's
years
gonna
ago,
look like.
I would have been so overwhelmed. I would have just got a desk job.
Yeah.
That would have been so depressing.
I
Right?
can't even. I did
Every
that.
day? You did?
When I came out of uni.
Yeah.
When I finished AIM, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? And my parents were like, you should work full time, like that's just like how you should. And I ended up being the administration assistant at the Seymour Centre.
Yeah.
And I did a 2-year contract there, and like I was like, I hated it. Like like got so upset coming and wanting to go, like trying to go to work. Like it was just like a whole thing. I was like, what am I actually doing with my life?
Yeah.
And then I stopped that and like did freelance music and like became a band
better?
conductor,
That's cool.
which was really fun. And I loved that. And
That's
like
the
taught
best.
kids music. Like,
Yeah.
but like after school, I didn't I had no interest in being
a music
a
teacher.
music
at school.
teacher. I was
Yeah.
like, nah.
Teaching's cool. It's been fun.
And I taught
Like-
some songwriting to like younger kids, which was really fun. That was very, really wholesome too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think like, I mean, you kind of just said it. It's like once you find the thing you're passionate at, just do that.
Yeah.
It's always going to be, cool if you do it long enough.
Yeah. It's just as much like life is just much better when you're doing something you like doing.
Totally. You
Even
got
though
some
it's
fulfillment.
hard.
Yeah.
Hard is good though.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little top 3
All right.
and then get back into more chat.
Top 3. Here
Top
we go.
3. So, are you ready? This is a pretty
Okay,
good one.
here we go.
Your top 3 items of clothing.
Top 3 items of clothing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Like, does this mean like your top 3 favorite or top 3 most worn items of clothing?
Ooh. Let's do most worn.
Oh my God, my girlfriend's going to laugh. Probably my cycling shoes, because that's like an everyday thing.
Yeah. You cycle every day? Or like...
Yeah, I cycled this morning.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's just a life balance thing.
Yeah.
I try to get out. It's hard sometimes when it's freezing.
Yes.
Definitely those.
It's amazing.
And this hat I've been rinsing. I bought it the other day.
It's a great hat.
And I was like, you know what? I love this hat.
It's a great hat.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And probably okay, hear me out. The basic white tee.
Yes.
I have 6 of them.
Yes. You need 6.
Yeah. You need 6 white tees.
Yeah. That's
And,
almost one for every day of the week, just in case.
Exactly. And like I totally like the washing basket will be full. I'm like, okay, I got to wash now. And I just go, well, great, because I got 6 white tees. I don't need to think about that every day.
No.
I was just like, whatever.
Because it goes with everything.
There was a period in my life where I just went, okay, I just need to pick a uniform because I got so anxious with all the micro decisions in my day.
Yep.
So super routine driven.
Yeah.
I literally bought, I think like 10 or 12 and I lined them up and I put a shirt over the top of it.
Yeah.
You know, like I just rocked the white t-shirt with a shirt over the top.
Yeah.
And I had 10 or 12 shirts.
Yes.
And I would hang them up with this t-shirt inside and the shirt on the outside. And then I would have a pair of, I think, blue chinos and like camel colored chinos.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
That was
every top goes with every bottoms.
It's all
Pick
good.
it out, grab one, put it on, and just
So
get on with
good.
your day.
Yes.
Man, there's just too many things we got to decide now.
It's so true.
Yeah? Like
Yeah.
even before you go to bed, you go, all right, do I want to set my alarm for 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. tomorrow? Like what is it?
Who knows?
Do I want to wake up early?
How productive do I want to be?
Yeah.
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 I get that. That is a micro decision. I actually have that battle with myself every night. I'm
You
like,
do?
yeah. Well, I'm more like, am I going to get up and walk my dog? Yes, I am. But am I going to set my alarm for like 6 or is it like 6:25?
Yeah.
Like how big's the walk?
Yeah. And if you sit on that decision too long, you don't sleep.
No.
Because, you know,
Or I wake up just way earlier than my alarm anyway. And I'm like, well, what a waste of brain space.
I know. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So,
Was
second
that
half.
3?
That was 3.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, cycling shoes, hat, white tee.
White tee. We got it.
Bashed it out.
That was
I
easier
feel
than
like-
I thought. I was getting really worked up because clothes aren't my thing. I have to put
You did well.
systems in place.
It's very
to fix
casual.
That, you know?
I feel like you
Yeah.
doesn't that you got your style down pat.
Yeah. Bang.
Yeah.
Staple music producer, white dude. Like this is like the generic
Hat,
thing.
white
Is
tee,
like, oh yeah,
cycling
that's another
shoes.
white dude, music producer with a beard. Cool. That's it. Hat, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the big question.
Okay.
As you know, Listen Up Music is a mental health charity.
Yep.
And I've started doing the big question, which is, how are you, but you're not allowed to say good, which I briefly asked you at the start, but we're going to go further into that.
Okay.
So how you can't say or tired.
Okay.
No good, no tired.
Yeah, that's fine.
James, how are you?
Healing.
That's
a good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah. It just came to me.
Just now?
Just then. I was like, healing.
That's the word.
Yeah, look, honestly, I think, as I said to you earlier, I think, I don't know if I mentioned it on here yet, but spent a lot of time overseas last year at the start of the year. And for me, I think it was a collection of a few things, but realizing the potential of what I was capable of overseas versus here was soul destroying.
Yep.
Because I love living here. And I think that coming back was interesting. I was away for a month. Basically, like I did not stop for a whole month, which was great. And I love that. I really thrive in that space where I'm just consistently working. But coming back was so depressing. I just really, last year was really tough. Like I struggled to get out of bed. My cycling thing, I was racing just before, like at the end of 2023.
Yeah.
2024, I couldn't even get on the bike. And I love that. That's like my obsession. Don't get me started on bikes because we will just never stop
We'll
talking.
be here all day.
I'm obsessed. But yeah, it was really tough. Like it was hard for me to find the discipline and the grit to really do much. So much of things that were difficult.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes things that weren't difficult, but mainly just like waking up at 5 a.m. and doing exercise, even though I knew that I enjoyed it when I was doing it. And it was going to make me feel great and make me feel like I'd achieved something and make my day feel set up. that was so hard.
That is
Everything
hard.
just became so difficult.
Yeah.
I literally cleared my calendar. I said, I'm not doing anything that I don't immediately love. And I just started looking at different things to do. Like I had a little run with like making some content online and like trying to find new things. And it wasn't really until this was a good like 8 or 9 month period of just dreadful. Like there were some really, really tough days and like my mood was so off all the time. I felt exhausted consistently. But I think as we came through to like October, November, I had like a mindset shift. I started journaling this whole period and just documenting the process for me.
Yeah.
And I always had this thing. Someone once told me that one day I'm going to have a book. So I was like, okay, one day I'm going to have a book. I need to document my life.
Yeah.
And I kind of break my life into chapters when I think about it, looking back or forward.
Yeah.
And so I documented this process and like there are a lot of things looking back that I kind of almost look at it and go, wow, who was that person?
Wow.
That wasn't even me. Like I just was an absolute shell of a human. And it was really terrible. A lot changed in that time. I ended up just giving up cycling. I sold all my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
We moved house to this really fantastic place that we love, like into this apartment we really love. And I guess really from that point is when it started to turn around. It was walking distance to the studio.
Oh, that's good.
It was great. Like, it was like a 10-minute bus ride to the studio.
Yeah.
But it was walking distance to the studio.
Walking makes such a difference to me. Like, and things being close and time and like,
well, yeah.
You know?
And I wasn't exercising at all. Like I just, everything went out the window. And like, that's why I have systems for these things just mentally because the micro decisions kill me. So like, there was no exercise. I was eating terribly. I was just like drinking so much coffee. Like it was just an absolute shit show to be honest. But I think I've kind of managed to bring that back in. And it was really just like a terrible season of my life. Because you know how like your life's in seasons, like 3 months of or 6 months of pain and suffering usually brings you to a better place. And I think that going through that was I would probably say the toughest year of my life mentally. But coming out the other side, I go, wow, there were obviously some things I needed to work through and implement some systems to not let myself get into that space. And so now I just feel really grateful and I feel like just grateful for myself to be able to think in that way. And you know, pull myself out of that and just feel like I'm healing that process of that because it was pretty traumatizing. Like your head takes you to places you don't want to go. You know? It's just bad.
And then like getting it out. Yeah.
But you like, have you heard that concept of if you imagine something, your brain doesn't know the difference between you imagining it and it actually happening?
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. So like if you imagine getting chased down the street, you're probably going to have your anxiety levels like come up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd hate that too, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I kind of look back and I go, wow, like that was a dreadful period of time.
Yeah.
How do we just avoid that forever? Like, like that's about as bad as it can go. So anything from there is on the way up.
Yeah.
And, you know, since then my mindset changed and I'm just very much about the fact that like once your mindset changed, you attract like-minded people again.
Yes.
And like I really just cut out a lot of toxicity from my life.
And it's so important to do that.
Yeah.
You know? But it's hard to do that.
Yes. I think as well, if we talk about the systems of the clothing and things like that, I cleared out my closet. I got rid of all my stuff except for like everything I don't use, like all my attachments to anything. I removed everything. I got rid of it. I donated all my clothes, everything.
Yeah.
What else? Like got rid of furniture.
Yeah.
Got rid of really people, stopped working on things that I wasn't really passionate about.
Yeah.
Because that just felt like a job then. And if I wanted a job, I would be depressed as hell working in an office job.
Yes.
Doing what I didn't want to do. And I think that it really gave me a fresh start.
I was going to say, you've just Fresh start, new start.
Yeah. And then towards the end of last year, I was like, you know what? I should get back into my biking because I really loved that.
Yeah.
And I geeked out and just built myself the bike I wanted. And
yes.
yeah. And here we are. So I think definitely healing. I'm working on so many things that I really love now.
Yeah.
And I'm
sorry, go.
kind of like focusing on solutions rather than problems.
Yeah.
Because I think that was maybe the primary driver of what got me into that headspace in the first place, was coming back from overseas and just seeing how like really, for want of a better word, fucked up this industry is here. We can bleep that out, can't we?
We can what?
We can bleep out that.
We can bleep it out.
Yeah. How many gaps and holes there are here.
Yeah.
That need to be fixed, and stop looking at them as problems and start looking for solutions for them, and just implementing that real part of my brain, which is like, let's solve problems.
Yeah.
Like, problem solving's hard. Everyone's been avoiding it for a long time. That's what's given us this position we're in.
Yeah.
How do we find solutions?
What are the solutions?
Because the people that we want to be solving this aren't solving this, and there's reasons why.
Yeah.
So how do we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been kind of diving into that recently, right?
Yeah.
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 Let's dive into it now.
So I think a lot of the struggles here are definitely like, I mean, we sort of talked about this before, but like a lot of it is to do with just really the ability to grow your skills and the time. I think here, unfortunately, the reality at the moment is that if you want to be a musician, you have to have some sort of side hustle or something to substitute your income, because like girls got to eat.
There is such a minimal amount of people that like in the network that I'm a part of that are purely just one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think exactly that. It's like, most producers are, mixing or live show building or working in a cafe or something on the side. Mm-hmm. I really feel lucky that I didn't necessarily have to do that because of the way and the time that I came up. Yep. But a lot of the new people who are getting into it now, I feel really sorry for them. It's really difficult.
Hard.
And especially if you're learning, because you've got to work a full-time job. Cost of living is ruined already.
It's terrible.
And how do you then find the time on top of probably the one or two jobs you're doing just to eat?
Yep. To
focus on your craft, to get better at your craft, to eventually do that. And I think that's the vicious cycle that we're kind of stuck in. On top of that here, like our population is a lot smaller than overseas, and the density is a lot lower. Like there are artists in Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide who are great, but like it's a flight away. It's not like, a 20-minute drive and we'll be in the studio or whatever. Yeah. So again, like there's more costs involved. And I think that a lot of it is how do we get to a place where the songwriters can write songs and focus on honing their craft and writing amazing songs and working with, 10 or 20 artists a week like they can overseas, and get better at it against everyone else who's already doing that. Yeah. Because, our top songwriters, they're still working other jobs. Like how does anyone have time or energy for that?
Such
so
a
they
crazy
have to be
concept.
so selective.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, how do we minimize costs with simple things that people can implement to get them to a place where, you might build your career to a place where it makes sense for you to bring in a songwriter or, a fantastic producer who's going to cost you more money, but it's worth it to you at that point. Yeah. Because producer down the street, anyone, say there's a guy down there or a girl down there producing music. It's like, cool. They can produce the same song, spend the same amount of time and effort producing a song for a person with 50 streams, or they could produce that song for Beyonce. They're going to get paid vastly different for each of them.
Hugely.
But the value of what the person has done is no different, because it's just dependent on what the artist with 50 streams can leverage it to versus what Beyonce can leverage it to. And I think that what we need to get to is a place where their skills are valued enough that people can then leverage it into more. Yes. Because if an artist has the tools that are free, which is what I've been essentially creating, free tools for artists to use to grow their brand and their vision and their project to a place where it makes sense for them to invest properly into their music. Yeah. And, you're going to get a better better quality product, just going to stand next to a better song in a playlist or you know, on the radio if radio's your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think like it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And day by day or evening by evening, it's my
Evening by evening.
my 6 to 10 p.m. role.
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is building this stuff.
I love it because I think you're right. And I think you're on, you know, I am totally in agreement with just like, it's just so expensive. Where's the time? Like, why is Australia behind the rest of the industry? All that kind of stuff, and how do we fix it?
Yeah.
But it's like we're always talking about the problem, but we're never talking about what the solutions are.
Yeah. I think as well, apart from the fact that obviously like, you know, it's hard for an artist to book shows or build an audience here. And, you know, the tall poppy syndrome thing pops up. That's absolutely a thing. You don't need to hear me yap about that, but that's totally a thing, and it's definitely impacting it because it's so hard for an artist. Like who, so many acts have literally grown up here, performed here, done all these cool things. No one cared until they blew up overseas.
I was going to say, and then they went overseas. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just don't understand if people fully grasp how difficult it is to export overseas. Like, you can't just go once.
No.
It costs probably 10 or 12 grand each time you're there for a month. And 10 or 12 grand. And if you, like, they will cancel on you the day of. So, like, if I have any tips, double book every day and cancel on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Plenty of songwriters there.
Plenty of songwriters.
And, you know, it's going to be good. But yeah, it's just like, how do we elevate the artists from the ground here to get them to a place where they can have a sustainable career?
Yeah.
And therefore, obviously, like the music industry starts with the artist and the songwriter. How do we generate sustainable careers for them, sustainable creative practices? You know, because even you think about songwriters are taking a day off their other job to come write a song. You know, say they make $200 a day working another job.
Yeah.
To come write a song. They spent $20 to get to the session, $20 on lunch.
Yep.
So they're already down $240. And they wrote a song and it either A, it didn't come out, but B, if it was good enough to come out, it probably got 5,000 streams. Girl is not eating off that. Right? That's not even covering the parking.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we genuinely create a place where that makes sense? And you know, like every career, like let's be honest, every career, every business, whatever, has some cost to setting it up or to doing it. You know, you can see, okay, a songwriter's going to take a risk. You know, they knew that in going into it that it was going to cost them this and whatever. And you go, okay, but if you as the artist or the producer wanted that songwriter to come to the session, you knew that they were worth bringing them to the session. So what are you going to do about that? How do we
to support it?
Yeah. Well, like there's obviously a financial thing or we wouldn't be releasing music. Like if we just wanted to make art for art's sake, it'd be sitting on a hard drive made on GarageBand.
Yeah.
But if you're making some commercially viable product, that's kind of what it takes.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, what tools can we implement to build audiences for artists without them spending $10,000 or $15,000 on like a US-based PR firm, which is not guaranteeing you anything and charging you US dollars, and taking that, you know, really capital from Australia overseas where we actually need it here. Like in terms of the economy here, we need to keep it here between the people here and keep it working. So how do we create tools for free that are really simple and effective and demystify it without being sharky or trying to rip people off? Yeah. To build artist careers to a place where that makes sense for them to invest that money. Yeah. Because realistically, like if I said to you, hey, Travis Barker wants to produce your song for $100,000. You go, wow, like I would love to be able to pay Travis Barker $100,000, but I'm getting 50 streams. It doesn't make sense. But if you built your brand to a place where it's like, oh, cool, I can get a couple million out of that, and I know I can leverage that to something else, you'd be more likely to spend $100,000. You know, maybe you could get it for 90. I don't know, but like you'd be more likely to take that risk because you've got a better chance of cashing in on it or leveraging it into something. Yeah. And so just getting these artists to that place where, you know, even if they did go to Travis Barker, would he work with you anyway? You know, like how do we get to that point? Yeah. Because that costs money and it's also very difficult to do.
Yeah. I love it. I'm going to follow your journey on this.
Thanks.
You're going to be the answer to the solutions.
Oh, you know what? There's a few
problems.
answers to the solutions. I just hope that mine is useful to people.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Well, I think it's you're onto something.
We'll see. See it play out.
Stay tuned.
It's still it's still early days. Like there's a few things I made. There's one which is like it essentially builds your brand and cuts out the micro decisions of what do I post today, and
which is such a
yeah
thing that everybody goes through.
Like I think that if we look at it as a skills shortage where the best of the people here move overseas, all the managers are gone. And so the managers here are being like, hey, can you post a TikTok today? And you're like, well, what the do I post?
Yeah.
Like, can you help me? Like I'm working, and manager, they're also working because they're only getting, maybe 20% of your $0, which is still $0.
Yeah.
So you can't really expect a bit higher investment from a manager who is not the CEO of your business, which is you.
Yeah.
So how do we solve that? Well, this basically takes like all your personality traits, things like your Instagram, Pinterest boards you like, lyrics from your songs, genres from your songs, playlists, like basically asks you a lot of personality-based questions.
Yeah.
And generates using some AI. I love tech.
It's got to be integrated, the AI.
But it is brilliant.
Yeah.
It literally is brilliant. And it pulls all these things together and creates a unique brand to you.
Yes.
So it's not like you're ripping off like, oh, Tate McRae posted this today, or Sabrina Carpenter or whatever posted this. I'm going to do the same thing. It doesn't even do that. It goes, hey, this is what you need to do to nurture your 1,000 fans.
Yes.
Because if 1,000 of those people paid $10 for a ticket, you just made 10 grand. That's going to fund your EP.
Yep.
So how do we nurture those people and then also have different types of content that create awareness?
Yep.
Because a lot of artists, you've probably seen the same thing. Everyone's sitting there making viral content, but then you click on their page and you go, okay, well, what actual substance do you have?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, you're going to get hit by a car. Lol, jokes you didn't. That's a viral thing. There's videos.
Yeah,
where it's like,
yeah.
But when you go onto it, I can't see any personality. There's no branding because everything's so scat like a YouTuber. And it's like, how do we approach being a music artist as a musician creating content rather than a content creator who's also a musician?
And I also feel like a lot of people are feeling like they have to create all that content, and which takes away from the time that they need to be, or they should be, or want to be creating their music.
Absolutely. So a lot of what this does is it takes what you do, your personal story, and it really hones in on your story, which, and you go to any conference by Music Australia, Music New South Wales, tell the story. It's like exactly that. But then how do we do it in a non-cringy way? Because you think about your story, you go, I don't want to tell people my story. What do I do? How do I make
who's
it
interested?
What? Like my life's boring. There's a guy on TikTok who just documents his 9 to 5 and it's all like slowly putting it into his laptop in his bag. Like he just literally went, hey, my life is boring.
And then went viral.
It went viral, quit his job because he's making content. But how do we, right? How funny is that?
Crazy.
Right. But then there's everyone's like, my life's boring, and I get it. Like, look, we've all been in that place where it's like, I don't want to, we've all heard someone say like, I don't want to document my day because I'm going to my 9 to 5. That's not what an artist does. And hey, you don't necessarily have to document that. But like when you're in the studio, film the whole thing, cut it up like it's a podcast.
Yep.
And spit it out.
Yep.
And this tells you like literally things to talk about that are based around your song, not around jumping on trends that are completely irrelevant to music.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine how do we create authentic artist brands, not like I'm trying to go viral again type stuff. And that's what I think's missing. Like,
I agree with you. And they aim to go viral rather than the aim to be authentic, and then people
like
pulling into that.
My big cringe singing this song in an Australian accent. Don't make yourself a gimmick.
Yeah.
You just devalued yourself.
I've seen so much of that and I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah. But like you've turned your accent and your entire brand of being an Australian and making art from a certain place in the world, which is so far away that it's exclusive and it's got its own set of stimulus and culture behind it. And you just went, I'm singing the song as an Australian.
I see Charlie do that so much.
Who? Charlie.
Oh. I can't think of her last name.
Charlie Artist?
She has purple hair.
She did? Yeah, I just feel like, like who at what label is telling people to do this?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just like it feels like you're making yourself a gimmick, and we're better than that. We got some
We
cool
are
shit.
so better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a wild time.
That part's getting cut out now, isn't it? I felt like a shot's fired. Oop.
I forgot Charlie's last name. We're going to end our little podcast session with a scenario. Is there anything else you feel like you want to add? Any advice?
No, I just yapped, didn't I?
I mean, it was great.
You just got me on my high horse.
Good.
I felt like my grandma at Christmas dinner, you know, she's like, yeah.
That's the best way to be in the podcast.
I
That's
know,
what we're here for. Getting that info out.
Is there anything I want to talk about?
Yeah, or add or any advice that you want to give?
I mean, I could sit here for hours, but
Reach out to James. He's got all the advice.
oh no, don't reach out to me. I will get nothing done. I don't really think so. I think okay. I mean, I touched on this a little bit today. If there's something that you're struggling with doing or something that you're procrastinating, firstly, it's probably the one thing that's stopping you from progressing. But secondly, if it's so difficult to do, consider a system that you can use every day or every couple of days that you can put in place to make it easy.
Yep.
So, and that's basically essentially the first principles of what I've been solving is like, everyone's struggling with this. Let's create a system that makes it easy so we don't have to think about it and make these decisions.
Yeah.
That's really it.
I think that's good advice.
Routine is great. Yeah.
We're humans.
We're all humans, right?
Like routine.
You know, we weren't built to just grind out stuff. We're built to sit on rocks and hunt things, you know?
Yeah. I think that's good advice.
Thanks. I hope someone finds it useful.
I reckon they will.
Yeah, maybe.
Very relatable, I feel, all the stuff you talked about today.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just missed the mark completely.
No, I think you got right on it.
Yeah, nice.
We're going to end with a scenario.
Okay.
So, which is weird that we talked a lot about travel because our scenario is kind of related to travel.
Okay.
Well, not kind of, it is.
Okay.
So, we're going to mosey on in because then I have to screen grab this to make it into a still. Okay. Yeah. So, we have to create so I'm going to give a scenario and then we have to create like a freeze frame of that to the camera so I can then screenshot it.
Okay.
So your scenario today is you're at the airport and you missed your flight. What is your reaction? Are you napping? Are you eating? Like what's your...
I missed my flight?
Yeah. And you meant to be there at a specific time and you've missed your flight.
By how long?
How long have you missed your flight? Or how long have you got in the airport?
Like how...
Well, that's details. This wasn't in the scenario.
Yeah,
but
how long did I miss my
it up.
flight by? Like, if they close the doors and
I reckon you've just got to the door and... Yeah, it's dramatic.
Okay.
It's dramatic. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm going to count down from 3.
What would I... So I've got to do what I would look like when I do this? Okay.
Yeah, straight down the barrel. I'm going to do it with you. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. You'd be like,
totally
oh my goodness.
Of course that happened.
Yep. To me. Of course it happened.
When you're so defeated, you're like,
well,
oh, well, not much I can do about that.
Lying on the floor now.
Not
to the
turning
next
it around for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, James,
Thank you
for coming on the Pick Me Up podcast. It's been awesome chats.
Thanks for having me. I think we had a good time.
I think we did.
Yeah,
I think we
great.
talked about some great things.
I think so too. We covered a lot of ground.
We did.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And everyone, just so you know, we will be back soon, but this is the last episode of season 3. So we will catch you later.
The finale.
The finale.
Catch you next time.
Bye.